Alright, so we once again try to bring back the Terminator series with another Terminator sequel. But is it as good as Terminator Judgment Day? Or is it a turd in the wind? Let's get into Terminator Dark Fate, everybody. Alright, it's your boy Joshua, aka Future Filmmaker 39480, the Epictasticness himself, here today, and I'm going to give you my thoughts. I know this is long overdue, but I'm here to give you my thoughts on Terminator 6 Dark Fate. And this is the 6th entry in the Terminator series, directed by Tim Miller, with a screenplay by David S. Goyer, Justin Rose, and Billy Ray. This is the first movie to have Linda Hamilton involved. It is the first movie to have James Cameron involved. And this is the 6th movie in the Terminator series, as I said. It stars Linda Hamilton, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Mackenzie Davis, Natalia Reyes, and Gabriel Luna. And in Terminator Dark Fate, more than 2 decades has passed since Sarah Connor prevented Judgment Day and changed the future and rewrote the fate of the human race. Dani Ramos, after a certain event happens, which I'll get into, Dani Ramos, she is now on the hunt, killing any Terminator she sees. Dani Ramos is living a single life in Mexico City with her brother and father when a highly advanced and deadly new Terminator, the Rev 9, travels back through time to hurt and kill her. Dani's survival depends on her joining forces with 2 warriors named Grace, an enhanced super soldier from the future, and a battle-hardened Sarah Connor. As the Rev 9 ruthlessly destroys everything and everyone in his path in the hunt for Dani, the 3 are led to a T-80 from the classic Terminator, Sarah's past, that may be their last hope. So let's get into Terminator Dark Fate. A lot of people weren't really interested in Terminator Dark Fate, but I was one of the few people who was actually interested to see how a new Terminator movie would turn out, since I am a fan of the Terminator franchise itself. And as far as Terminator movies goes, the first 2 movies are great. I love the first Terminator. I thought it was a very original film. It was something different from James Cameron, and this put Arnold Schwarzenegger and James Cameron on the map. Terminator 2 Judgment Day was a sequel that not only improved on the original, but it was just as great as its predecessor, with a great villain and great character development. And the other 3 without James Cameron, Terminator 3 Rise of the Machines, it is a complete retread of Terminator 2 Judgment Day, but I do get some enjoyment out of it, even though it does have its issues holding up. Terminator Salvation is actually my favorite of the Terminator movies, because it attempts to go for something different rather than just doing the same chase movie over and over again. In Terminator Genesis, I don't mind, but it did the same thing over again. And this movie does the same thing over again, but I was interested in seeing what they would do with a new Terminator movie, with James Cameron back, and with Linda Hamilton back, and with it returning to its roots in the form of an R rating. Yeah, I'll get to that too. And I will say, for the most part, it does do the same thing as we see in Terminator 3 and Terminator Genesis. But I'm gonna say I overall enjoy Terminator Dark Fate. I do enjoy Terminator Dark Fate, even though I do have my issues. And the only way to start this review off is to just go into what I didn't like first. Then I'll go into what I did enjoy about the film. My first negative is that we keep doing the same exact thing as we see in the other movies again. You keep doing this whole car chase and thing again. It's failed with Terminator Genesis, and it failed with Terminator 3 Rise of the Machines, and a lot of people, including myself, are getting tired of seeing the same exact thing over again. Terminator comes to kill a person, then it just comes a chase movie. And I felt like you really could have done something different there as far as that goes. Because it just feels like I'm watching Terminator 2 and Terminator Genesis over again. And for a movie that has James Cameron returning, you would think there would be something different. Now I know the production troubles that James Cameron and Tim Miller, they clashed during the set of this movie. I do know about that, but you could have easily put your differences aside and provide a different plot for the script. Because this is pretty much what people say about the new Star Wars movies, except I like those movies because I love Star Wars, and I am reviewing Rise of Skywalker next month, so be on the lookout for that. But I just feel like we keep doing the same thing over and over again, and at this point it's gotten repetitive and people are tired of it and they want to see something different. Say what you will about Terminator Salvation, but for me, that movie, it worked for me because it was doing something different. It actually showed the war of the robot, Skynet, and John Connor fighting off the Skynet. I appreciated that. And I wish they could continue that for a trilogy instead of doing this. Also, this movie is rated R, right? You have a lot of potential with the R rating, but you don't really go for it. You just basically, it was just kind of a waste to make this R rated. Easily it should have been PG-13 because there's not really anything warrant of an R rating. It just feels like it's watered down a little bit. And honestly, the make it or break it part of this movie will have to be the beginning of this movie, and I am going to spoil the beginning of Terminator Dark Fate, so if you haven't seen Dark Fate, spoiler warning, you have been warned. At the beginning of the movie, 3 years after killing the C-1000 and averting the rise of the malevolent artificial intelligence Skynet, Sarah Connor and her son John, they're relaxing on the beach, so a T-800 Terminator is sent from the future, shoots and literally kills John Connor. This has been a pretty divisive thing, but for me, I can tolerate it to a certain extent, but at the same time, it just makes Terminator 2 pointless, because you have all of us Terminator fans sit through 2.5 hours, even with the extended cuts. You have us literally sit through 2.5 hours of Sarah Connor trying to protect her own son. And with that, I'm just sitting there like, what was the point of even sitting through Terminator 2 anyway? But I will say that I do get what they were going for, because there's not much more you could have done with John Connor at this point, because you keep doing the same thing over again. And this isn't the worst thing they've done. What they did in Terminator Genesis was way worse than this. But yeah, so that's pretty much all of my negatives out of the way. And also, the film goes on the movie becomes quite slow at parts too. But it's 2 hours and 8 minutes. It doesn't become too slow when it gets to the action. So, let's get into what I do like. I will say I do like the direction of this movie. I do like the way this movie is directed. Tim Miller, he knows how to shoot a movie, and the action sequences are very well shot as well. So I have to give Tim Miller a lot of credit for that. He also directed one of my favorite movies of 2016 was the first Deadpool. I'm still waiting for Deadpool 3, by the way. Don't mess it up, Disney. But anyway, the direction and as far as the action scenes and the execution goes, I gotta say, the actions, they're fun to watch. I do like the action, especially when the Rev 9 comes into play, which I thought was a cool idea. Which is also, to another one of my negatives, before I go right back to my positives real quick, I do feel like the Rev 9 could have had more to him. It's not Gabriel Luna's fault, but I just kind of feel like he was underwritten too, and so was Natalie Reyes. But I gotta say, the direction was nice, and the cinematography work was really nice. It's a well shot movie as far as the feel of the Terminator. It feels like you are watching Terminator 2 again, just in 2019. So I can give you that. And as far as the music goes, I do like the music by Junkie XL, Tom Horkenberg. I am a fan of his musical scores for Mad Max Fury Road, and he also helped did the music for Batman vs. Superman: Dawn of Justice and Mortal Engines from last year. So the music is very well done. I do like the music in this movie. It's well done, and it's nice hearing the Terminator theme again. But real quick before I do go back into the positives again, I'm sorry, but I do have to admit that the first look that they had, it did feel like you're promoting an agenda again, just like with Charlie's Angels 2019, except it's not as bad as it is in Charlie's Angels 2019, but franchises and TV shows and movies, honestly, I think they should stop promoting the women or else agenda. We get it. Women are badass. Women are strong. We've had plenty of movies with female characters in the past, and we'll have them going into the new millennium, 2020. But you don't have to shove an agenda just to get us to go see your movie, which is I personally think is the reason why this movie is bombing, besides the production clash, and besides because people were still mad at Genesis. But anyway, I digress. I will say the acting is really good as well. Arnold Schwarzenegger, he may be in his 70s, but Arnold Schwarzenegger, I do like what they did with him here. Because I wasn't a big fan of what they did with him in Genesis, looking back at it. I do like what they were doing for him in this movie. With him settling down, he has a wife and kids. I like that. That was cool. And like I said, Arnold Schwarzenegger, he might be in his 70s, but the guy, he still got it. He's still good as an actor. And still, Linda Hamilton, she may not. This is a different version of Sarah Connor that we saw from the first two movies. In the first movie, she was just a girl that built up to being a badass towards the end. Then the second movie, she stepped up and became badass. This movie, we see that she has been battle scarred and she's hunting down anybody, especially after those events that's displayed at the beginning of the movies, which I did appreciate. And Linda Hamilton is great once again as a character. Mackenzie Davis, I liked her as Grace. I liked her ever since Freaks of Nature, which Freaks of Nature I hated at first, but then I ended up growing to like. And I actually loved Blade Runner 2049. I loved her in that movie. So she's great in this movie. I gotta say, she really stepped up and brought her. She did good. Yes, she has a short haircut, and I do prefer long hair. But I can't really hate the fact that they were going for something a little different. Also, Gabriel Luna, like I said, he does a good job as well as the Rev 9 and Natalia Reyes. I do want to see more of her. She's actually pretty good in this movie. So the acting is great. The effects are well done. For a $168 to $200 million budget, the effects got, like as I usually say, the effects better look like something. So I will say that. They did that right. So you pretty much do all that right. What you need to accomplish is just those the couple of negatives I have kind of messes with the movie just a little bit. But at the end of the day, I still found myself enjoying Terminator Dark Fate a lot more than most people. I know a lot of people were not very happy with this movie. I know a lot of people are just done with the Terminator series, but for what it was worth, I thought this was a pretty entertaining movie with good performances, with some fun action. Even though the story is overly familiar, this is still an entertaining movie, and I'm willing to give Terminator Dark Fate somewhat of a highly recommended, because I do enjoy it. Overall, I just felt like that you could have done a lot. You could have done a lot better in terms of story, and took the agenda thing out. So that is my thoughts on Terminator Dark Fate. What you guys think of Terminator Dark Fate? Is it your favorite, your least favorite? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Are you somewhere in the middle? Or do you give you pleasure? Be sure to follow all my social media links in the description down below, as well as go check out my official merchandise store. There will be more videos all on the way. You guys keep cool, enjoying the Epictasticness.